camera setup and doing this on my mobile. Good morning, Bong. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here early for this morning stream, as opposed to um, my usual 1 p.m. Eastern stream. We're doing this early because I've got some wrestling stuff this weekend, which I'm very excited about. But that does mean I have to book or do these live streams a little bit earlier than usual. But I hope everybody is doing well. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing.
And I'm excited.
And let me know how it is that you want to talk about, or what it is, I should say, that you want to talk about. And Bong, thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciated. So I don't know how long this stream is going to be because it is going to be, like I said, shorter than usual because I'm rocking out the wrestling. But I did want to talk about some of the things I got coming up, as well as some of my thoughts as relates to Freemasonry, as always. So please, in the meantime, though, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I do want to mention, I discovered, and I'm actually going to share the link. State of the Masonic Fraternity. You're not running out of time. You're out of it. This was a great article I discovered online. And I'd like to share it, but it's not letting me for some reason. The link is too long. Let's see if I can find it. Written by Mark St. Cryer, or Mark St. Cyr. Where do I share this? It's in Meet, Act, and Part, which is obviously a very Masonic title. Here, maybe what I'll do for now is actually, I'll share with you their Patreon page, at least you can find that. Although I'm hoping if you're going to share their Patreon, you can also share or find my Patreon as well. Let's see, how do I do this? Do it that way. All right, you should be able to find them through their Patreon. They are called Meet, Act, and Part. And they wrote, like I said, a great article, great blog entitled, and it kind of ties into a lot of stuff I've been talking about. State of the Masonic Fraternity. You're not running out of time. You're out of it. Which unfortunately I think might be true. But I do think, I don't want to be too doomsday about it. I do think there are ways that we can change things. But as the author says, over the last few years, I've been quite vocal on my displeasure with the inner workings of the Masonic fraternity when it comes to its central theme, making good men better. My first statement or question would be, why is that the central theme of Freemasonry? It's certainly not my central theme of Freemasonry. I've said it before on this stream. To me, the central theme of Freemasonry is that the world can be made better through the application of brotherly love, relief, and truth. It's not about making men better, it's about making the world better. And that kind of completely changes the idea of, because his point is, how do you make good men better at the lodge and the type of programs? So anyways, before I go on too much longer, I just want to wait and give a chance for more people to find us. As I was saying, this stream is my earlier stream during the day, so obviously we'll wait to see if people can track us down. But it's a very interesting article he writes. Basically, he's saying within about 15 years or so, until 2040, we're not going to see Freemasonry exist anymore, at least not in a positive way. his kind of point he makes is we have to get back to the garden where true Masonic philosophy and education, where it's touchstone raison d'etre. The pervasive idea that has been clung to now going decades is we don't do that here has proven its own shelf life, for it's now shown to not only be spoiled, but rather causing injurious matters that is killing the fraternity day by day. It needs to be jettisoned in the dustbin of history. Nothing less will do. There is no more time. And I'd love to have Mark St. Crier or Bill Hostler on the podcast, so we'll see. In the meantime, though, let's just wait and see if anybody else shows up. And as always, well, it's definitely a subjective point of view of his. It is, there's some so I guess I'd ask, what is the subjective point of view? If the subjective point of view is the central theme of Freemasonry making good men better, then I agree that's a subjective point of view. Unfortunately, it's also become kind of the, I guess, the standard motto, almost the cliche. A lot of people, when they're asked what Freemasons do, that's what they go to, that's what they say, which does kind of concern me, because again, I have a different view of what the central theme of Freemasonry is, or at least what the central theme of Freemasonry should be. But in terms of his idea that, you know, within the next, by 2040, Freemasonry is going to decline significantly in numbers to the point where it may not be able to survive, that's harder to argue against, unfortunately, with the numbers going the way they are. I mean, even he talks about here, and I've seen this myself, if you look at recent Masonic blogs, almost every day there's another Grand Lodge officer is being expelled, under investigation, expelling someone else, quitting, forbidding affiliations. What he describes is these things are going to happen with even more frequency in the future. It's just how things go when any business entity enters the state of terminal business process. And yes, the Grand Lodge system is a business process. And just to reiterate its case, it's been lost far in the midst of future for these next 4 years, meaning you've already entered the initial 5 of the 15. And so for me, I think that is harder to argue against. I think, but I do think there's a common, I'm trying to think of what the word is. Like, I do think it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that if your argument is, and if you believe that Freemasonry, that the theme of Freemasonry is making good men better, which does come from a Scottish Rite application, not a Masonic application, and that's your goal, you're probably going to run into these problems. But if your belief is Freemasonry is about building a better world, I think that gives you more options and more ways and more abilities to potentially reverse the course. And those ways could include, but aren't limited to, one idea I've had is personality testing new applicants to see if they have certain personality traits that are more suited to active or positive Masonic engagement. Because I do think there are certain personality traits, and it's not a judgment call. There are positive and negative. Like, it's not a judgment call. People have different personalities, and some of those personalities may be more suited to being a Freemason than others. I'm starting to suspect that is the case. And I think it's worth exploring that. I think we need to try more gamification approaches to Freemasonry, where we try to engage or create a more engaging lodge experience through things such as providing an epic or core meaning. Making the world better is an epic or core meaning. I think we need to be more willing to explore digital options for Freemasonry. and more willing to engage in cutting edge things such as cryptocurrencies. Just as a few examples. Bong, have you seen me or heard me talk about personality tests in the past? Out of curiosity, if you have, let me know in the chat. Because I think one of the problems is if the motto is making good men better, there's a lot of good men out there. And if we decide that, good men can be Masons and that's all it takes, well, we're going to be getting in a lot of people who may not themselves enjoy Freemasonry, excuse me. It's more, my suspicion is there are certain personality traits that are more likely to find enjoyment out of and want to be engaged in Freemasonry. Okay, enjoy checking the flyers. I hope that there's some good sales. Bong, what I'm going to do, and Dad, when I come home, I'm going to do this with you too. We'll do it together, but I'm really curious what your answers will be. If you want to help me out, let me see if I can find the link. I'm going to share it. Personality assessments and positive Masonic performance. So I've got this link here. It's to a Medium article I wrote about personality assessments and positive Masonic performances. Bong, if you want to, I'm curious, if you want to check out that article or story I wrote, there's a link in the story to a personality test. If you want to take it and then maybe comment or respond to the story with the results of your test, I'd be really curious to know. The reason being, in my very unscientific study, or at least unscientific sample size, right? I asked a bunch of my friends and people I knew who were active in Freemasonry, who were regularly going to lodge meetings and regularly involved in lodge, to take this personality test. And the personality test, it's a it gauges your personality on 4 different areas. But what's interesting is the second area is whether you are, it's the end personality trait, which stands for intuitive, correlated to imagination, open-mindedness, and curiosity. So basically everybody, is about 10 people I knew who took this personality test, and they got different results, except they all had an N personality trait, meaning they were imaginative, open-minded, and curious. And again, it's approximately 10 people took it, although all 10, like I said, were actively engaged in Freemasonry, which is attending multiple meetings per year. Most of them never missed a meeting. Some were introverted, some were extroverted. Some were logical, some were more feeling in how they approach things, but they were all imaginative, open-minded, and curious. And so my suspicion is, when we're looking for Masons to join lodge, if we want Masons that are going to be, or if we're looking for applicants to join lodge, if we're looking for applicants that are going to show up regularly and are more likely to be part of it for the long haul and regularly attend, we probably want to look for people who are intuitive, otherwise known as imaginative, open-minded, and curious. And I think that would help deal with the state of the Masonic fraternity as discussed in Meet Act Part, because again, then it switches, right? A curious person probably isn't that interested in making himself better, but he's probably curious as to how he can make the world better, or open-minded to new ways to be better. I just think, I've said this a million times, I think the issue with Freemasonry isn't a lack of members, it's a lack of member engagement. I suspect part of the issue is the type of members who are joining maybe don't have the personalities that would make them interested in or want to be part of Freemasonry or active in Freemasonry. They may want to join, but they're not the type who'd be interested in showing up regularly, is my suspicion, for whatever it's worth. According to this article, Meet Act Part, he thinks the author thinks that Freemasonry will die out in North America, at least in 2040. I don't know if it's going to die out, but I don't think it's going to be around for too much longer, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I don't think it's going to be out in a way that will be relevant to the world, right? It may still exist, but the numbers will be so low, it won't really matter to anybody in communities whether it exists or not. It is my suspicion. And so I think we do need to make a lot of changes. I think personality testing might be one simple way. What we'd have to do is a twofold process, right? First, we would have to give a personality test to kind of as many Freemasons as we could. And then, also first we have to do two things. First, we have to take Masonic membership, divide it between active or engaged Masons, and let's define that as Masons who attend at least 2 meetings per year, and then inactive Masons, who are Masons who attend less than 2 meetings per year. Give them all the personality test, see if there's a correlation. So if the active Masons all score a certain type of personality, and if the inactive Masons all score a certain personality, that's our sample. And then we have new applicants test them to see if they score more in the active range type of personality or the inactive or disengaged personality. Captain the Dog, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you will hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know how it's going and what it is you want to talk about. I also think there's definitely room to do more community efforts to increase our relevance, to shop and buy more local, which matters especially now. So Masons should make an effort to reach out to local businesses for example, refreshments. And I think we need to provide more opportunities for employment through Freemasonry, such as lodges or temples anyways, hiring Masons to do work at the building needs to be done. So you are connecting a brother's income with the craft, helps force him to be more active and involved. Those are just a few ideas I have, but check out State of the Masonic Fraternity. I put it on all my socials. Answer the personality assessments question and hang out with us here. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much, Captain, for being here. Like I said, this is my earlier stream because I have got my wrestling I've got to get ready for this weekend. There's a lot to get ready for. So today I'm doing this at 10 a.m. Tomorrow I'm doing my stream at 9 a.m., which is going to be a lot of fun. And then next week, Monday, back to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be talking about Freemasonry, the digital space, from stone blocks to data blocks. So check out all of those. And thank you to everybody who's been following me. It's been awesome to see. My socials are definitely doing pretty well. In the meantime, jump in the chat, say hello. Let me know what you think of these earlier streams, if you think it's worth maybe doing more earlier streams or stick to the 1 p.m. I feel like people have gotten so used to me at 1 p.m. I don't really want to change it now, except when there is a situation like I'm traveling or I've got wrestling or whatever it is. Then I'd probably like to do more 1 p.m. streams. But you can let me know in the chat what your thoughts are as to, first, do you think Freemasonry, actually I'm going to make that the first poll question. Do you think Freemasonry will survive past 2040? Yes, no, unsure. Let me know in the chat what your thoughts are. My suspicion, honestly, and it makes me sad to say this, is, but I'm unsure. I don't know. Um, I'm hoping that it will, put it that way, but I don't know for sure. Just sending off a quick message to somebody. Answer the poll question. Let me know what your thoughts are. In the meantime, I think every lodge has a distinct personality. It's picked up by the master as he goes through the chairs of that lodge. So there is definitely some truth to that, what Dad is saying. 100%. The master can definitely impact the personality of the lodge. But I guess here's the thing, right? There have been, here's the thing, Dad, and Bong just came in at the perfect time. Once again, we have, from what I understand, a very, or at least a fairly active and engaged Mason in Bong. Certainly someone who cares about the craft and Freemasonry. And you'll notice his personality assessment, ENTJ. Now, ignore the first, third, fourth, and fifth letters. Note that second letter is N, which is the same letter I got, which is the same letter my friends got, which is the same letter so far every active Mason that I've talked to has got. So the fact that we're seeing this consistent second letter N popping up on all of these tests, it honestly makes me think that that might be correlated to people who enjoy Freemasonry more or more likely to be active in Freemasonry. I'm not surprised that he got it. So there are unique characteristics to each lodge, and those do change with the master, as well as in some cases it's just the nature of the lodge. But I'm fascinated by the fact that we keep seeing certain consistencies. Bong, thank you so much for taking it. Bong, if you can respond to the medium story and leave your response with your personality test, your results there, I'd very much appreciate it. I'm trying to collect as many of these as I can. Not everybody wants to leave the result, which is fine. You don't have to respond to the result in the medium story itself. But if you can, I want to have as much proof as I can, because I'm honestly thinking about bringing this to Grand Lodge to say, look, we need to take our Masons, divide them between active and inactive, give them these personality tests, and see if we have any consistencies picking up in terms of type of personalities for active. But yeah, on the Medium article itself, you can respond. You can respond to the Medium story, leave your answer. Dad, you and I are going to do it when I come back home. Just watch. Maybe you'll end up with the exact same results as everybody else. So we're the same second letter anyways. I feel like you would. Interesting. So far the results have been that I've got ENFP, INFJ, ENTJ, ENFJ, a preponderance of N's on the other one, and then this one, ENTJA. So E is extroverted, N is intuitive. I gotta remember the other two off the top of my head, but I'll check them out. But You have changed now. No mic. Now we see your full face. Yeah, I had to do this on my cell phone. Every now and then I have to do it via the cell phone. So tomorrow, though, I'll be back to microphone, I do believe, 9 a.m. once again, doing the live stream from my laptop with the microphone because I think it sounds better from the microphone, to be honest. But I hope everybody is doing well. Please take a moment. If you're just joining us, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Doing this early today. Why? Because I have got wrestling coming up the next 2 days, which means I've got to get ready for it. So I love my live streams. I love doing them, but I've decided to do them early these next couple of days. So tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then Monday, we're back to doing it at 1 p.m. And it's going to be on Monday, more discussions on, or we're going to talk about, and this was an idea from my audience, the power of online communities, strong and engaging spaces. Good. It was just ring crew stuff. So set up, tear down, nothing too hard. And I didn't even do a ton of work, to be honest. They had a bunch of students there who were doing way more than me. So it was fine, though. It was fun. It's always good to see everybody. So it was a good time. Right? We're going to talk about building a strong foundation, defining your community's purpose and values, identifying your target audience, choosing the right platform and tools, engaging and connecting, content creation, sharing valuable, interesting, and interactive content, fostering conversations, encouraging participation and interaction, building relationships, creating a sense of belonging and trust, growing and sustaining, strategies for attracting new members and retaining existing ones, organizing events and activities, promoting a positive and inclusive environment, examples and takeaways, case studies of successful online communities, practical tips for building and managing your own community, final thoughts and encouragement to take action. So that's going to be Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern. I believe so. I believe I will be. So don't worry, I'll be sure to post stuff on social media if I am reffing. Do you think Freemasonry will survive past 2040? 3 votes, all 3 yeses. So that's awesome. At least people are feeling positive. I suppose it's one of those things where probably the better question isn't just will it survive, but how will it survive? I think is the far better question. Will it survive in such a way as to be relevant to the world and communities in which it's located? That's what I'd want to see. So like I said, I do have my stream tomorrow, but you know what? I'm going to share the Monday stream because that's a very interesting new type of thumbnail I'm trying. So head up to that one, hit the like button on it. Make sure you get ready to watch it on Monday, 1 p.m. And as always, it's great to have everybody joining me once again for another live stream. But it certainly does, I think, say something, the fact that we have another another N personality trait showing up. So please, Bong, if you get a moment, become a medium. I don't know if you become a medium member, but you can for free. But either way, leave a response in the story with your personality type. It helps big time. Anytime you have people commenting, liking videos, etc., that always helps. I'm also thinking of writing another medium story, this time about the TV show Lost and the symbolism therein and how you can apply it to Freemasonry. In the same way, we had people talking about and applying the symbolism of the Matrix and Westworld to Freemasonry by a good friend of the channel, Peter, which was a lot of fun. So if you like pop culture like I do, it might be worth checking that out. I think I'm going to release that, if I can, on Sunday. And once I know for sure, I'll let you guys know. Welcome, though. If you're just joining us, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how you're doing and what it is that you want to talk about. CD. Hey, Cameron, hope you're all doing well. I am doing well. Thank you so much for being here. As you can see, I'm doing this early because I got some wrestling this weekend. So I decided to do my live stream today. My live stream is early as well as tomorrow. And then it's back to the 1 p.m. stream on Monday. But CD, it's always great to have you join. The poll question today came from an article I was reading called We're Out of Time. It was on Meet, Act, and Part, which is a great Masonic blog, where basically they were arguing that Freemasonry is already in the state where it probably will not exist past 2040. My suspicion personally is it will exist, but the nature of that existence is going to be so small as to be very it's not going to be relevant to its membership or the communities in which it exists. It's not going to be able to do the good it could do with the membership backing it. But it's a great article. It's called You're Out of Time, or We're Out of Time. It's by Meet, Act, and Part. It's on all my socials. Check it out. It's worth a read if you, like me, love Freemasonry. But yes, CD. I'm happy so far, though. All the answers have been, do you think Freemasonry will survive past 2040? We got 4 answers, all 4 yeses. So at least the, if nothing else, the medium or the YouTube audience is supportive of it or optimistic, which is always a good thing. So I was saying, in terms of ways to potentially avoid a 2040 end to Freemasonry, there's a lot of different options. I like to focus one each time, and my one idea for now is personality assessments and seeing if there's some type of personality that is more inclined to be supportive of Freemasonry or be active, engaged. It's survived this long. What's 20 more years? That's true. That is true. But you want to be very careful with that, right? It's very easy to think because something has always been a certain way, it will always be a certain way. And that can sometimes lead to problems. It's kind of similar to, I don't know if you watch Kitchen Nightmares, Bong, the television show, but oftentimes when Gordon Ramsay, he like turns around failing restaurants. He'll go to these restaurants and they'll say like for 30, 40, 50 years, our restaurant was going really well. Sometimes when things seem to be going really well or existing for a long time, it's easy to ignore significant underlying problems and issues that exist. So you want to be careful about it's always been around, so therefore it will always be around. You don't want to get complacent in that sense. So, and Dad brings up a really interesting point here as well. Had a Robbie Burns night, had 95 in attendance. One of the major challenges we have in Freemasonry right now is, how do I put this? And we see this with Dad's statement. A Robbie Burns night with 95 people. How do I put this? So we are seeing across the board in Freemasonry, and when I say across the board, I mean across multiple jurisdictions, a lodge is capable and is able to hold an event with significant attendance. If by attendance you include public, wives, kids, whatever it is. If it's like a one-off thing, if it's a Robbie Burns night, a New Year's supper, a dinner, if it's a one-off event where it happens once a year and that's it, or it happens very rarely, you're able to usually pull out decent attendance. And probably the reason is, going back to the core drives and motivations we talked about in yesterday's stream, because it's a scarce resource. If I miss Robbie Burns night, especially when I have a red sealed chef doing the cooking, if I miss that Robbie Burns night, I have to wait an entire year for the next one. And who knows if there'll be the same chef there who has the same caliber. So I better put the time in to go to it. Or, and you see that, the January 19th and 20th events, that's not just a once a year thing, that's a once in lifetime thing. We had over 200 Masons in attendance, we had a packed room. But, and again, that core drive of curiosity is not a usual thing. Fear of missing out, you don't want to miss it because you don't know when the next one will be. So those type of events, Dad, actually do well. The problem is to organize a Robbie Burns supper, you need to have business meetings where you talk about how much money you have, who's going to organize. You need to have a record of minutes and correspondence and committee reports and all the things that go into producing a dinner like that. Our business meetings in most lodges are struggling, where it's challenging to even get quorum. Masters are stepping out of chairs. And so it's like, yeah, we can organize a 95 attendance supper, but then the next month when we have our business meeting, we're lucky to get 7. And eventually, no matter how good these special events are, if your business meetings can't make quorum, you can't pay bills, you can't organize anything, and then the lodge goes dark, and then there's no more Robbie Burns nights. Now, there is one other way to deal with that, right? Which is, and it's a very valid way to look at it, is what Grand Lodges can do, and Bong and CD, you can let me know what you think of this. We could say, okay, the lodge is kind of voting with their feet. They're saying they care about the social events. They care about the fancy events. They don't care about the business meetings or business of a lodge. Or at least they don't care enough over what other responsibilities they have in their life. So Grand Lodges say, okay, every lodge is required to hold 2 meetings per year, an installation of officers and an official visit. The rest of the year, and you can set those in your bylaws, what those dates are. The rest of the year, meetings are completely optional. If the lodge wants to hold one every month, it can, but if it doesn't have to. And the business of the lodge, the paying of the bills, any type of administrative duties that need to be done, that is put in the purview of the master, secretary, and treasurer. And they can meet as often or as frequent or as infrequent as necessary to get those things done. Similar to what we had during COVID, where because we couldn't meet in person, the administrative tasks were basically given to the master, secretary, and treasurer to do kind of at their whims, without needing votes of lodge. That way, because the other problem is, if you need to pay a bill, but your lodge gets 6 members in attendance, technically you can't vote on paying the bill. And that pushes everything back. That makes it harder to organize things. And some lodges, what they'll do is they'll pay the bill anyways and just hope they get the quorum the next month to retroactively vote on the bill they paid. And so what helps with that is you're not burning out your membership, because the 6, 7, 8 members who feel like they need to be in every meeting or else they're not going to get quorum, you take that away so they don't get burned out and feel like they're being taken advantage of. The business still gets done. And every year you can elect, the members can elect new master, obviously, and potentially a new treasurer and secretary at the installation. And they're still being forced to do ritual because they have to do their official visit. And if the lodge cares, they'll find time to do degrees. But that way, and the other thing is that makes it special, because it's like, if there's 2 meetings per year and that might be it, members may take more of an effort to get to those 2 meetings because it's all they've got, as opposed to, and I've had this conversation with members where they miss a business meeting, but they say, it's okay if we miss this business meeting because I know there's one next month. It's like, well, if the lodge goes dark, there might not be one. And if Grand Lodge is saying you need to make this happen or else, that can put another set of challenges on the brethren, as opposed to saying 2 meetings a year, these 2 meetings sorted out, business done by, the officers elected to do so, master, secretary, treasurer. Only reason why it's existed for so long is its ability to adapt with the times due to its members. I agree, Bong, but I disagree as well. It's not, it's the ability, the ability to adapt is an important part of Freemasonry, but honestly, a lot of what kept it existing was a massive influx of membership in the 20s and 50s due to veterans returning from World War I and World War II looking for another place where they could experience brotherhood and fraternity like they experienced in war, to be honest, and to serve their community. And so, I don't think we're ever going to have a situation, I pray we don't, knock on wood, where there's another world war. And so as a consequence of that, it's like, what is the new way? Because the Freemasonry, in 1959, the number of Freemasons was as high as it's ever been in the world. It has been steadily dropping ever since. Right now, it's about 800,000 in the US, and it's probably the lowest number it's ever been, at least as we've got recorded. I mean, obviously, if you go back to like Grand Lodge of England, UGLE, when it first formed in 1717, it was probably less, but in terms of recorded numbers, 1959 was the highest. It's been dropping ever since. Example being around Hudson Bay store, started in the 1600s, now applying for bankruptcy. Perfect example, right? Never assume just because something has always been there, it will always be there. And I think, unfortunately, Bong, I agree with you, but I don't think it's adapted as much as it needs to or can or should. And I'm hoping we see more adaptation in the coming years through, for example, personality testing, cryptocurrencies, digital engagement, changing the responsibilities around meetings. I think all those things would make a huge difference. And thank you so much for, for everybody who has joined me, as well as who has helped me out, such as, for example, taking that personality assessment, leaving a comment on the story, or responding to the story. Peace Gardens Lodge, yeah, I mean, my lodge, Border Cities, meets 5 times per year. It's incredibly low numbers of membership because for a while people felt like it was going to be going dark. It's coming back, and I'm proud to say it's coming back, but it was a lot of work to bring it back. That's the other thing too, doom spiraling, right? If people think something's not going to go well, then they're more likely to not care about it. And if they're more likely to not care about it, it doesn't go well, and on and on and on. It kind of cycles through, which is really, really challenging. Welcome, everybody. If you're just joining us, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a few of these emojis, hearts, whatever it is. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed. We were talking today, I read an article which said that the author of the article is from Meet, Act, and Part, said he did not believe Freemasonry would exist or survive past 2040. And I think he got some stuff wrong in the article, but I think he got a lot of stuff right. And the concerns he expressed about the likelihood of Freemasonry making it past 2040, I think we're pretty spot on. And so then the question comes, how do we resolve it? There's different ideas. Synthetic Future Entertainment. It's been a little while. Synthetic Future Entertainment, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please hit that like button, subscribe button. So CD has got a really good and valid point. The rising cost of living and stagnation of wages has increased a rift in the ability to afford fraternal expenditures, let alone the extraneous cost of organizations and the perpetuation of them, in my opinion. No, CD, you're not wrong. I've talked about this a bunch, right? Freemasonry can't just pretend like there's not problems in the world that exist. That's why I ask people about things like the stock market crash, tariffs, trade wars, because that affects Masonic members, that affects their pocketbooks. And if their pocketbooks are affected, their ability to come to lodge is going to be affected as well. So, very valid point. And I think very easy to pretend those things don't matter. Doing well here, brother. Good to see you as well. Yeah, it's been a while. I'm doing this stream earlier than normal because I've got some wrestling the next couple of days. So today my stream is 10 a.m. Tomorrow I've got a 9 a.m. stream. And then next week, Monday, it's back to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So um, I hope that you guys will check me out tomorrow as well. I know it's early, 9 a.m. If you're on the West Coast, that could be 6 or 7 a.m. for you, but still, I hope you can check it out and join us. We also have got on Saturday, midnight, as always, midnight movie watch along in honor of St. Patrick's Day weekend. It's going to be Leprechaun 3, Leprechaun in Las Vegas on Tubi, just because it's a cheap, cheesy, fun movie. One of my favorites. So if you can stay up that late, hang out with me and watch it. And because why not watch a movie at midnight? That's the best time to watch a scary movie, in my oh so humble opinion. Yeah, even seeing articles or stories today, Trump's economy is crashing out. As CD says, right? Trump's economy is crashing out. What does that mean for your average Mason who maybe has money in the 401k? Wants to retire to spend more time with Freemasonry? Can he do so now? I think all those things have to be considered and kept in mind. I don't necessarily know what the answer to that is, CD, otherwise creating, again, maybe instead of requiring lodges to hold 10 meetings per year, let's say you only need to hold two, you need to hold 2 meetings per year. That gives Masons more time to do other events, to their work and family, and it makes the 2 meetings a special occasion. Just like Dad pointed out, their Robbie Burns night had 95 people show up, but the reason probably is because it's a one-time-a-year thing. They're engaged and driven to attend because they're afraid of missing out on a great dinner. They're curious as to what the dinner will be, and they know if they miss it, they have to wait an entire year to make it back. They probably don't feel that same way about your typical business meeting. Trade war is a lot better than wars with weapons. I agree, and if America does invade us here in Canada, I'm in Windsor, which means I'm the first line of defense, and I don't want to go to war with America. So if America could please calm the F down, I'd appreciate it. Because I get far too sleepy and I'm far too lazy to have to fight to defend my country. So everybody just relax. Nobody cross the Ambassador Bridge. Nobody's going to be the 51st state. We're all going to be fine. But no, seriously, I love my American friends, my American family, my American brothers. You guys are all awesome and incredible, and everything's going to sort itself out. As CD says, hopefully there's a level in homeostasis in the stock market is achieved soon. I agree. I think we're all hoping that, again, because it's real people, retirements, real people, are affected by this. And again, with Freemasons, it's the same thing. It's like this stuff matters for their ability to be engaged in the craft. Stagnation, rising cost of living, stock market, ability to retire. I know one brother who was actually looking forward to retirement because he wanted to get more back involved in Freemasonry and in the lodge. And then his kid lost his job, so his kid moved back in with him, and now he has to go back to work. So he's not able to dedicate himself to Freemasonry as much as he would like. So these things all matter. Not to chew my food twice, but you cannot separate the success of a Masonic lodge from the success of the communities in which it's located, in my oh so humble opinion. If everybody could take a moment, hit the like button and subscribe button if you're not done so yet. Don't forget to find me at midnight on Saturday for my personal channel, where we'll be talking about watching Leprechaun 3. I wanted to share a dream I had. I was telling my wife about binary code the other day. At night, I dream about an ancient Chinese man named Fuxi and I Ching. Sadly, I'm not Sigmund Freud, so I don't know what that means, but it sounds like quite the dream. I've had a few Masonic dreams. Interesting that binary code. I'm talking about Freemasonry and the digital space on our Monday 1 p.m. podcast, or live stream, I should say. I want to share a dream I had. I was talking to my wife about, when I looked it up, come to find out he inspired the German scientist that invented binary code. Really? Very, very cool. That is very cool, synthetic. My suspicion, I think I've said this before about intuition is, or like, call it whatever, people who say they're psychic or whatever it is, or have these intuitions. My suspicion is it's actually unconscious data that we don't process consciously. So our subconscious mind saw it, maybe it saw something, read something, but kind of forgot about it. And then all this information comes out in dreams or through intuitions or lucky guesses, quote unquote, or things like that, in my humble opinion. Please, but very cool. And he was holding a square. So clearly Freemasonry is impacting your life, I guess, or at least Masonic symbolism is impacting your life, which is a great thing. So there you go. Maybe they're trying to tell you something. Who knows? But that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that dream. I very, very much appreciate it. If you've not done so yet, please take a moment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let me know how you're doing and what it is that you guys want to chat about. Do you think Freemasonry will survive past 2040? I've heard some people say it will survive, but it will survive as a dinner club, meaning like it's going to become basically what Dad had said. It's going to become a thing where once or twice a year you have a big dinner, everybody shows out, but the rest of the time it's just, it doesn't really do anything. Good CD. I appreciate that because, like I said, I get sleepy. So let's just don't, for God's sakes, don't make me do anything. You know, I get very sleepy. I mean, I don't want to have to, I would make a terrible soldier for the love of God. And, sitting here, I can see Detroit, not to pull a Sarah Palin, but I can see Detroit from my house. So I love America, right? You guys are awesome. So let's everybody take the temperature down a little bit with trade wars or otherwise. Let's all just take the temperatures down a little bit. By the way, in case you're curious, Dan, my cryptocurrency went from being worth $75 to $70. So, or actually, sorry, $60. So it's still dropping, but that's okay. And, tumultuous times, we'll get through it. One way or the other, we will get through it. It's just in the meantime, how much of what we're going through is going to, from my opinion, affect Freemasonry. That's my biggest fear. Welcome, though. Please, if you're just joining us, hit that like and subscribe. I'm going to have to end this stream soon because I've got to get ready for some wrestling tonight. Tomorrow, my stream will be 1 p.m. Eastern. 9 a.m. Excuse me. Tomorrow, my stream will be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Monday, we'll be back to 1 p.m. Eastern. And Saturday midnight, I've got my next midnight movie watch along on my personal channel, watching Leprechaun 3, Leprechaun in Las Vegas, which is, I promise you, a great movie. If you like cheesy, fun, scary movies, that's the movie to watch. Hope everyone has a great and beautiful day. I do as well, Bong. Thank you again, Bong, for taking the time to answer my Medium story. Like I said, if you can go to the story, leave a leave a response on the story with your particular personality assessment. I want to get as much data as I can to kind of test my theory as to whether the intuitive personality trait is one that will find enjoyment from or be actively involved in Freemasonry. My suspicion is yes, but I need to get some more data to prove it, because it is a very small sample size. But the more sample sizes I get, the better. Dad's asking about if you make different choices, would your life be different? I don't think exactly, CD. That's why I'm doing it. I don't know. I think, Dad, when it comes to that type of stuff, I try not to think about it too much. It's too, who knows? There's no way to know. You kind of just treat the past as destiny and the future as having free will, if that makes sense. So treat the past as something that you could not change and just happen the way it happened, but treat the future as something that's within your control to change, is usually my advice for that. I am going to check out Synthetic Future Fuchsie for sure. I'm going to make sure to see if I can, maybe it might be worth doing a podcast about, or at least a Medium story about, because I never heard of him before. So I took a screenshot, so I remember Fuchsie. I'm going to check him out 100% because I'm very curious now about him. And thank you for sharing that. Let's see if I can actually. Fuchsie is a mythological character. Destiny or grand design. Yeah, well, like I said, I think the past is destiny, the future is free will. Thank you, brother, for hearing me out. No, I appreciate it. So Fuxi was counted as the first mythical emperor of China, a divine being with a serpent's body who was miraculously born, a Taoist deity, and or a member of original God. Interesting. Fuxi is said to have lived for 197 years, although together, and died at a place called Chen, modern Herein, when a mountain to him can still be found as a visited tourist attraction. I'm just typing in Fuxi Freemasonry Square. Fuxi, this is from Novus Veritas. Fuxi holds the square and sometimes a device it describes as a plumb bob. I can't find the actual pictures. I have to go to images maybe. Yeah, there he is. He's holding a square and a compass. Well, that's very interesting. Another square. Again, I don't want people to get it twisted and thinking that I think that Fuxi invented Freemasonry, but rather I think what this demonstrates, amongst other things, is the fact that these symbols represent something important to cultures around the world. That's very, very interesting. Maybe I'll share this maybe I'll share this actually on the stream tomorrow. Thank you for sharing, Synthetic. I do appreciate that. We have a square and compasses in mythologically the first mythological emperor of China, which is really cool. All right. Thank you guys so much. That is awesome. I appreciate you sharing that very much. I'm going to research more about that for sure and share that information tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I have to start getting ready. So maybe there's some power in dreams. Who knows? All right. Thank you guys so much. Be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. We're going to talk about Fuxi some more. All right. Thank you, guys. If I could get this thing to, there we go. All right. See you guys later.